Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks Live. And we got Jeff 7, Stephanie, Laic, Vintage. Thanks again, Vintage, for the hydro jug. I appreciate it. And I had a little bit, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but I had a little bit of technical difficulty this morning getting on here, getting it straightened out with YouTube. But glad to see all of y'all here. And yeah, I forgot my glasses, Stephanie. No, I have these other glasses and they're real shiny, I guess, because these lights, and they just have these lights all over them, so it's a little weird with the lights in the live stream only. It's only during the live stream because I can't, I've got a thing that so I can see the chat properly. And the thing I use is at the distance where I can see clearly without glasses. You know what I mean? So if I put my other glasses on that don't shine up, then I can't see. So not clearly enough, but I can see clearly without them. Hey Trip, what's up? How's everything going in Australia? But let's see, today what's been on my mind is that whole thing. I don't know if all of y'all have watched the video. I know Trip did, and I think Vintage did too. The one I did about what's going on with the young people today. And I've heard this before many times about we had ADHD medication back in the 70s, and we had all these problems with the young people, autism and ADHD and all this stuff. We had all that stuff was just prevalent back in the 70s too, just like it is now. We had ADHD medication, we had autism was rampant and all this stuff. And I think people actually believe that. They say it like they lived through it, and it was some kind of tragic thing they lived through, and that was a real struggle for us. But I was alive back in the 70s. They did not have that shit. We weren't on ADHD medication back then. There were a couple hyperactive kids, almost always boys, and the teacher had to deal with them. They did not get medicated into they didn't sit there and drool on their desk but because they were so highly medicated. No, the teacher had to constantly tell them to sit down, quit throwing spitballs and shit and all that stuff. So that's like, their history is being changed. That people actually believe that that's how it was in the 70s and 80s, that we were all medicated up like they are now. And nothing could be further from the truth. Now, I'm not saying that ADHD medication didn't exist back then. Chaz, what's up, Chaz? Wake and bake, huh, Jeff? Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that shit didn't exist back then, but it might have been in some lab in New York, and they were testing it in some small subgroup of children, in some place. Maybe back then, I don't know. But I know that it was not, I never knew a kid, never. And I lived in a lot of different areas. My parents moved us around a lot. And I never knew a kid on medication like that. No one, ever. I never knew a kid with autism. No, I never met one kid with autism. And I went to many different schools, met a lot of different kids. And no one with autism, ever. Never, not once. So that kind of stuff, them changing, Stephanie, yeah, See, that's what I'm talking about. But they actually, I've been told by several different people that Ritalin and whatever I'm not even sure what the names of the drugs are, that we were taking that shit in the 70s. And I know for a fact we weren't. It just, that wasn't even, I've been to the doctor, with my parents and stuff, and not often, but, just for checkups, because we went from school to school, so you had to go to the doctor and make sure you had your vaccinations or whatever, you were updated for whatever to go to school back then. And every time we changed schools, I had to go to the doctor just so I could go to school. And never, not once did he bring or she bring any of that shit up about ADHD or any of that kind of stuff. That wasn't even discussed back then. Kids were hyper. You had a hyper kid. That was the terminology back then. They weren't ADHD and there was medication for ADHD back in the 70s. That wasn't even that acronym didn't even exist back then, except maybe in some medical school somewhere, but in the general population that shit didn't even exist. Mothers weren't giving their kids Ritalin in the 70s. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. So yeah, and we were outside playing all the time. So we weren't inside aggravating our parents. You know what I mean? They didn't give a shit. They didn't want to take the time. Well, mine anyway. Mine didn't want to take the time to go through all the necessary shit to take me to the doctor and to the pharmacy and all this stuff and wait. That was just a waste of time. They just sent me outside. That was my ADHD medication. Get your ass outside. Get out of my hair. You know what I'm saying? Leave me the hell alone. That was our ADHD medication. You can't sit down. I'll find something for you to do. That was our ADHD medication. Go mow the grass. Go mow the lawn. Yeah. Or go dig a hole and then fill it back up. That kind of shit. With a Ritalin and all this shit. Yeah, special ed. Yeah. Yep. Special ed, that was those kids that rode the long bus, right? The real long bus. They didn't ride the normal size bus like I did. Yeah, we were immune to everything, Jeff. You're right, dude. Oh, okay. You actually knew somebody with autism, Trip? See, I'd never even known anybody. Yeah, and now you probably remember that video I made about the spectrum. I have trouble with that spectrum thing. If everybody has their own little quirks, right? We're all quirky. That's what it means to be human. Just to be quirky. We're all different. We're all, I like swords and you like lightsabers, but I like swords, so I'm on the spectrum and I need medication. It's just... it's crazy. No, I couldn't believe that, Chaz. Not about you, man. Hyperactive. I think we would all be hyperactive, all of us Gen Xers, by today's standards. If you're not, zoned out, drooling on your phone, you'd be considered hyperactive. Yeah, good old slap lick. I'll give you something to cry about. Yeah. Yeah. But it's just so much different, and it's changed in a very short amount of time. It's crazy to see this stuff now, and it's not the complete entirety of the younger generations. They're not all like this. And it's another thing I saw, or I was thinking about, I think me and my wife were talking about it, that, you've got a mixture. Like, some of us had kids when we were really young, right? And they're millennials. They're just millennials. Some of us had kids older when we got older in life, in our 40s and stuff, and those might be Generation Alpha. But the vast majority of us, our kids are Generation Z, Gen Z. Okay? So and the vast majority of millennials are boomers children. I mean, they have, some of our kids are millennials, don't get me wrong, just like I said, but the vast majority of them are boomers. So it seems like that the mentality, the attitude or whatever is passed down from parent to children, because the millennials seem like they take after the boomers more, and Gen Z, although, you know, they're all tweaky and shit, but they're also more conservative. Look how the Gen Z came out and voted for Trump this last time. Right or wrong, at least it shows values. You know, it puts you on one side of the line or the other as far as values go. And Gen Z takes after Gen X more, because they're our children and they were raised, you know, by Gen X. Even if a lot of us anyway, kind of went overboard with the helicopter parent shit to compensate for the complete lack of helicoptering that our parents did, right? So, and even then, you know, a lot of us have boomer parents, but our parents the boomer generation's so big and so long that they're almost like two different generations, and our boomer parents are different than the millennial boomer parents. But even the millennials who had boomer parent, even the boomers who had Gen X and millennial kids, they treated the millennial kids completely different. I've heard that I don't know how many times. Their younger brothers and sisters were bubble wrapped and pandered to and shit, when they were just, you know, pretty much kicked out the door in free range. So that's a weird thing too, how the same parents can raise their kids differently as society changed. You know what I mean? Society changed, so the parents changed. That's crazy. Oh, okay. All right, Trip. G kids are alpha. You skip Gen Z. LJ, glad to see you here, man. Yeah. I wouldn't call myself hyper. Mike, what's up, Mike? How's it going, man? Glad to see you here, dude. Savage Lee. They call it being based. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Well, the way I see it, they've got a lot of growing up to do, and hopefully a lot of waking up to see who's pulling all this shit, right? Who's pulling the strings? Who's doing what? Because all these big corporations and the government and all this, it's really disgusting when you start looking into it. The pharmaceuticals, the medical, the food industry, how, you know, I mean, you can start researching into the food industry, just the shit they're feeding us, you know, and look at how organics used to be. Well, you can even go back to when we were kids, when food was just food. Everything was organic, right? That was just food. Nowadays, organics, just normal food, is special, and it's higher priced, and companies are making record profits and shit. But then if you go back just 10 or 15 years, the food they're feeding us now, the organic food they're feeding us now, wouldn't have made the cut under the organic guidelines 10, 15 years ago. All right, because it was small businesses trying to give people actual healthy food. And now the big companies, Tyson and Del Monte, they've taken over the organic thing and changed all the regulations, so they can just put whatever on that shit. You know, they can only put, the rule is to be labeled organic now, you can only spray pesticides on your crop once per year. All right. Now, who's to say that the 11th time you're spraying crops and which doesn't happen, the inspector doesn't go out there ever, but say one does stumble out there and say, hey, you're spraying crop. Yeah, this is the first time I've done it this year. I'm allowed to do it once. and it's the 11th time. You know what I mean? Or are they just going to let the bugs eat that crop? You know what I'm saying? And lose all that money. Come on. It's just ridiculous. No, I'm not wearing contacts, LJ. I can see good at a distance where I've got my tablet here and I've got it expanded out so I can see the comments better. And those glasses I had on, they just shined a lot in these lights. That they reflected the light a lot, and it bothered me. So I just didn't put my glasses on. So I need them to look at the computer, but I put this tablet up here so I don't have to wear them. Yeah, Savagely. They used to be beef. Now it's the fast food burgers, McDonald's anyway. It's like this protein slurry that they pour into these molds and then freeze them, and then they put the frozen patty right on the grill and cook it right there. It's odd. It's weird, this kind of life we're living today, what's going on in society and in the world, you know, these weird wars and the weird food and the weird drugs and all this shit. And the kids don't understand that we know what reality and real life is like and how much fun it can be, and all this weird shit keeping everybody, you know, medicated, and a lot of these medications, they numb you, you know what I mean? So you just sit there and doom scroll and, you know, make these companies money with their advertisements and shit and all their social media tracking and all that. Anger issues. Yeah, I think Gen X has anger issues, Stephanie, in this damn world we're living in today. I don't think you're alone there. Yeah. Yeah, I remember how those cheeseburgers were. They've made the cheeseburgers, like the Big Mac used to be a big thing like this. Now it's like, I don't know, maybe 2/3, maybe half the size that the Big Mac used to be, but it's got 500 more calories or 600 more calories in it, even though it's a lot smaller, right? And then, you know, they give you the big order of fries with it and stuff. So you're eating less burger, a lot more fries, a lot more calories, and they're doing a lot less. These younger people and a lot of people, they're doing a lot less physically than we used to. Like I was just saying about running around outside, riding bicycles, mowing the grass and shit, all that stuff we used to do. So they're taking in more calories and doing less physically. Even going, like we used to have to go to the library if we wanted to look something up. You had to get up, go outside, ride your bike to the library, or even drive your car or whatever. But that burned calories. Now they just click on their phone to do that kind of stuff, and you burn 0 calories. So you're taking in more calories and burning less. And we're wondering why, you know, there's a weight problem in society today. And it's not, I mean, it is, everybody should take personal responsibility, I believe, to a certain extent. But at the same time, when you realize that they're spending billions of dollars in advertisements and propaganda and stuff, it's crazy. And then, oh, you're overweight? Don't worry, we've got a shot for that. Yeah, just come in, we take your insurance, all that shit, it's all set up, you know. The only thing is, you know, if you quit, you know, taking our shot, then you'll gain the weight back, or quit taking our pill or whatever. And it all works together, you know. The food industry makes us fat, so then they can sell us pills for diabetes and give us shots for being overweight and all this stuff. And it's all, if I was going to plan it, that's how I would plan it. I'm just saying, that's how I would do it. You know, if I wanted to destroy a civilization and destroy a people and make as much money as I could, I'd put all of my major components and have them working together, not working against each other. Yeah, backpacking. Yeah, that's a great thing to do outside in the fresh air, and just being in reality, in the world, man. Yeah. And just people don't do that shit anymore. They'll literally do that, but do it in virtual reality. And what's that Facebook thing? The Quest or whatever, do it in virtual reality. So they're actually just sitting on the couch moving their thumbs, Eh. We don't have anger issues. We speak the truth, huh, Lake? If that's aggression, we have a problem. And I'll beat your ass after school tomorrow. I put ass in there. Leg didn't say that. I did. Yeah. that's hilarious, Leg. Jack Mabry Jr., what's up? Yeah. Yeah, we gotta keep that anger in check, dude. You're right, Jack. No, I don't eat any of that fast food, Stephanie. Well, I can't say I don't ever eat it. A year or two ago, about a year ago, I stopped at Burger King because I was just hungry, and it was the first place I passed. I whipped in there and got a burger, the regular meal and that I used to eat when I was a kid, and it just tasted like shit. But I was hungry, so I ate it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't throw it away or anything. I'd spent money on it. But it just tasted like shit. Now before that, it had been 5, 6, 8 years, something like that, before I had eaten fast food. So it could have changed, or maybe my taste buds had changed. But yeah, it just tasted like crap, and I ate it, but I haven't been back since. Not saying that I would have been back anyway, but yeah, I'm not into the fast food. It's just nasty, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of it. You wrote a novel of a comment, AF? All right. You're sitting in the yard now, Mike? Where are you at? Is it dark? Mike's just sitting in the yard, just, cross-legged, sitting in the yard, looking at his phone. Yeah, true. Yeah, it can be dangerous, savagely going out there like that. But I would, I would get completely the hell away from any, tourist like places or anything like that. I'd go hiking out in the woods where there weren't any lunatics. Yeah. Hey, yeah, that they could change McDonald's meat to any. It's not actually meat, to be honest. It's not what we think of as meat. It's a meat-like, slurry of stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I know. I rarely eat that. I mean, very rarely. I go years, but once in a while, I will stop at a fast food restaurant or drive through or whatever and grab some shit. But I mean, I go years in between doing it. I just don't like it. I don't like fast food. I don't like all the grease soaked into the French fries and shit. I don't like it. Yeah, oh yeah. The best burgers I've ever eaten are just homemade. That fast food crap cannot compare with homemade, cooked on the grill, and you put what you want. And just, man, I'm getting hungry thinking about that now. Yeah, yeah, Savage, that homemade stuff is the right way to go. I'd rather have an Eddie Murphy, Wonder Bread burger with the grease dripping down my arm than that damn the fast food shit, that's for sure. Everyone has the munchies. Uh, Only one state has a law against human DNA in fast food. That's an interesting bit of trivia, Jeff. Oh, yeah, Stephanie? Okay. I watched a movie about a lady that hiked, did a long hike somewhere, and she was a drug addict or something. I forget the name of it. That just brought that up into my mind, out of my subconscious somewhere. And yeah, yeah, I bet there are amazing communities in hiking. Popeye the Sailor, or Popeye Sailor. What's going on, Popeye? Glad to see you here. Glad you could make it. Yeah, that's a good dance, LJ. That's a good way to get off the programming, to get off away from all that digital shit, just to get outdoors and exercise. People who've never done it don't understand how good it makes you feel to just get outdoors and do something. Gardening, walking, hiking, jumping rope, swimming, whatever. Just exercise, burn calories, and exercise the big muscles in your body, your thighs and the big muscles in your body. It really helps. And I'm not talking about going to a stuffy gym and setting up your camera to film yourself and shit. I'm not talking about that kind of exercise. I'm talking about sun and wind and nature and exercise. Oh, I've never had a Rue Burger vintage. Or I bet they're good. Shit, I would try it. I've tried a lot of stuff, but that's probably like just common in Australia, huh? It's probably a common thing. To us, Rue burgers sound exotic and weird. But to Australians, that's probably just normal shit. Oh, okay, Mike. You're on the grill. Yeah, yeah. Eddie Murphy was hilarious. I love both his Raw and Delirious. That's got to be, Stephanie, that's got to be great for your mental health to just get off in the woods and leave this place for a while. Uh, get back grounded, you know what I'm saying? In psychologically and spiritually, and yeah. And that's part of me. Hey, thanks, Jack. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, dude. Thank you very much. I'm glad you could make it. Yeah, I have a lot of fun on these streams. Y'all are great conversationalists. I learn so much. Number one, and just having the camaraderie with like-minded people. Excuse me. Having the camaraderie with like-minded people, it's just a great feeling. But back to what Stephanie was saying, just getting outside and unplugging for a while. You know what I mean? It's got to be just a fantastic feeling spiritually and emotionally and psychologically in every kind of way. Uh, get back to the basics in your mind. I don't get the chance to do that very often because I have to work so much. Hell, a vacation to me is just 2 or 3 days where I don't have to go to work, and then I'm stressed out. So yeah, I'd love to be able to do that, and that's part of the attraction for me to the to the apocalypse is that, because it would be like just a long term. That even if the apocalypse only lasted 6 months, that'd be awesome. I'd get to get a damn break from all the rat race. Savage Lee, it was 114 yesterday. Holy shit, I thought 97 was bad. Where are you at, Savage? Oh yeah. AF drug in my experience, drug addicts are master manipulators, most of them. Oh yeah, we'll be kicking alien ass, civil defense. You got that right. Oklahoma Savage, it got that hot there. Holy shit. Yeah. It's it it's like 90 high upper 90s here every day, but it's so muggy here in Florida. That's the worst part about it. I live inland in central Florida, so we have forest all around us, basically trees and stuff, and we don't get that ocean breeze. When you think of Florida, you think of beaches and shit, and we just don't get that ocean breeze. It's not, most of Florida is not that. But yeah, it's oppressive, the damn, more so the humidity than the heat. Yeah, yeah, Savage, that's what I'm talking about. 6 months of apocalypse, yeah, that would be awesome. Give me a 6 month break from worrying about, bills and shit, and then just come back in 6 months. Business as normal, business as usual, and everybody would have had that 6 months to either learn how to survive or just go away. Oh yeah, I don't even know. I'm gonna have to buy some MREs because I don't even know what they have. Last time I ate any MREs was in the early '90s. Uh, I had a couple of my favorites. The spaghetti and meatballs was pretty damn good back then. Yeah, any place like that, or just I'd like to just throw all technology in the dumpster and go away for 6 months. Go to a log cabin somewhere and build fires and go fishing, and I would be a lot happier if I could do that. Once every couple years, I'd be living the dream. Trash air quality in Milwaukee, AF, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's one good thing. We got pretty good air quality here in Florida because of all the ocean breezes. It blows over the top of us in central Florida, but the air is pretty good. Yeah, Chili Mac, Jeff Seven, that was another one. The only one I didn't really like was the beef. What's that called? Shit, I can't remember the name of it now. Corned beef hash. I couldn't stand that one. Bucky, what's up, dude? Glad to see you here. Duck B. Glad you can make it, man. How's everything going? 118 in Arizona today. Yeah, holy shit. I lived in Arizona when I was a kid, and I remember it just blazing hot. I mean, just insanely hot. But still, you would get a breeze, so it just wasn't. You could get used to it. It wasn't so miserable as the humidity. But that was years ago. I don't know. If I went out there in 118 degrees, I'd probably curl up in a ball and cry. I can't go to work today. Yeah, apocalyptic vacation. That's what we need to start. Somebody needs to start an apocalyptic vacation, but then nobody could afford it because they couldn't afford to leave their damn bills unpaid for 3 or 4 months. I know they have like weekends and maybe even a week at a time where they go off and do that. That would be cool as hell if I could afford to do that, but I can't even afford to do that. Oh yeah, AF. I heard years ago when that the kids were using those sounds, those high pitched sounds for ringtones, so their teachers couldn't hear them. But that's a good idea in stores to have to have those sound, but irritating sounds played that only kids could hear, would make the kids leave. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You're moving up on winter, aren't you, Trip? Down there in Australia? Ah, good. Yeah, air quality is so important. We've got big cities. I'm sure you do in Australia too. Your bigger cities probably have air quality problems too. Oh, by the river? That's good. That's good, Chaz. Yeah. Oh, all right. Read some comments now, vintage. Yeah, rabbit stew. Uh, but yeah, I think that's part of the draw for Gen X to the apocalypse. That whole apocalyptic scenario is that we would get away from all this shit. The rat race, the hamster wheel, and get back to the basics. Because all of us, not all of us, I'm going to say a lot of us, I believe, um, kind of wish for that. Just not necessarily the apocalypse, but escape from that of the pressures and the financial stress and all this shit. And we just like to get away from that, even if just for a short period of time. But a lot of us, that's the trap we're in. We can't afford to get away from it because then I can't go let my bills go unpaid for a couple months while I go off and find myself. You know what I'm saying? Then I'd be a lunatic. So, but I think that that's part of the draw, part of the attraction to the post-apocalyptic scenario there. Especially that's why I say that the whole just the grid down scenario would be my first choice. Just take away the internet, take away even electricity, just do away with all that shit. I don't want to see 8 billion people die or whatever. I just want to see the grid shut down. That would be pretty cool. Let's see how we make it without the internet for a while. Yeah. All right. Yeah, grandkids. Yeah, vintage. That's got to be a blast. Oh, you about to go racing, LJ? All right, buddy. Thanks for dropping by, man. Yeah, being a hermit it has its attractions too. AF. Yeah, Savage. I'm kind of leaning that way too. I just was reading a thing on there where Trump uh, said it kind of in passing that the Democrats, if they do whatever they keep doing, whatever they're doing, that they're going to cause another Great Depression. So that like a foreshadowing of something to come? Is that kind of preparing everybody for what's in the works already? That's where my mind goes whenever I hear shit like that. Now, I'm not saying that Trump is in on it or whatever. Maybe somebody else told him that and kind of gave him that idea, and I don't know. But I'm kind of thinking that 2030, something's coming. I mean, they've been talking about the Great Reset of 2030 and all that shit, and everything seems to happen at the beginning or the end, right at the change of the decade. And 2030 might be wild as far as for the economy or whatever, and that it just makes sense that they would crash the economy and then offer their digital currency as the solution. And just like the Great Depression, uh, they had a problem they wanted to fix, so in my opinion, I believe that they did that shit on purpose. I just can't. I'm just totally convinced that all these recessions and depressions and booms and busts and all that shit, that's all controlled. That's all controlled. We're tricked into believing that all that shit is, it just happens on a whim and all this stuff. And if Joe Blow plumber sells his stock down the street, then he's a panicker and he's going to crash the economy and shit. That's implausible to me. When you look at the actual facts that the big institutions own all of the stock, basically all of it, and they control it, and also the fact that when I sell my stock, somebody has to buy that stock. So why does the selling of the stock count and crash the economy instead of the buying of the stock count and raise the economy? It just doesn't make any sense. Somebody has to buy the damn stock. You know what I'm saying? So if I sell my stock, then Vintage is going to buy it, and it's a zero-sum game. Vintage bought it, and we're still where we were. The stock is still owned. So I didn't have faith in the stock, but Vintage had faith in the stock. So what the hell, It doesn't make any sense. So I just think that all that shit's controlled, and if they want it to crash in 2030, it's going to. Period. That's what I believe. Yeah. Great Depression 2.0, yeah. Except there's a lot more people on the planet now. Probably 3 or 4 times more people. Yeah. Yeah, if we make it to 2030, we'll see. I don't know what the hell they have up their sleeve. They could very well, pull some wars out of their ass and then send us into a depression. Yeah, legends live on, Trip. Yeah, I like that. Oh, okay. In about half an hour. All right, LJ. What time is it? All right, we still got a few more minutes. I got to go to work today. I'm doing that sighting. I'll post a short video about the tiny house I'm working on. And a little explanation on that is we started out building this tiny house, or I'm building a tiny house for a customer. And it started out to be a tiny house, right? And I started making these short videos just for fun and to let y'all see what I do for a living and stuff. And I named the videos Tiny House, but then the guy is making the house for his mom on his property, and she changed her mind a lot and stuff. And so that as I was working on the frame and stuff, the house kept evolving, and now it's not a tiny house anymore. So the name Tiny House doesn't fit it anymore. I don't know what technically I think a tiny house is supposed to be 300 square feet or less, and this thing is ballooned up to like 600 square feet with a loft and stuff. So I understand that it's not technically a tiny house anymore, but I can't go. Well, I could, I guess, maybe, but I'm not going to take the time to go back and change the names of all those videos. So I'm just sticking with Tiny House. Yeah, Stephanie, that's exactly how I feel. I mean, yeah, I never and probably never will get to be super rich or anything. I'm never going to be Elon Musk. But, I mean, when I close my eyes for that final time, what the hell is it going to matter? But no matter what happens, me and Elon Musk are going to be exact equals after we die. Exact equals. Neither one of us are going to have a penny in our pocket. Neither one of us are going to have pockets to have pennies in. Either the lights go out and we just disappear, our energy goes back into the universe, or we're going to move on to heaven or whatever, or hell or whatever you believe. But either way, this shit that Elon Musk had, $400 billion, and I had, 400. that's not gonna matter in the least. And all the cheap Chinese shit I got piled up in my closet, old broken shit and stuff and whatever, none of that's gonna matter. Nothing's gonna matter except how I treated other people. The whatever's remaining of me, was I good or was I bad? Was I mostly good or was I mostly bad? I think that's the only thing that's really going to matter. So, yeah, I mean, I got to bust my ass and keep the bills paid, keep the lights on and all that stuff. I understand that. And I'm probably going to have to do it until the day I die because Social Security isn't there. I haven't had a lot due to my own decisions. I could have made better decisions when I was young, but I didn't. So it's too late now. So no sense crying over that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll just work until I fall over. try to enjoy as much of it as I can. Try to be the best person I can, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Where's Robbie? Did I miss Robbie when I was running my mouth? Robbie Reese. There he is. Glad to see you, Robbie. Glad you can make it, man. So, yeah, I really enjoy these live streams. We talk about all kinds of different stuff, from food, apocalypse, conspiracy theories, medication, just everything you can think of, right? And I think that we should address all these subjects with, number one, skepticism. We should ask questions about all that shit, Just ask questions. Why? What? Where? When? Ask them. There's no fault in that. There is absolutely zero wrong with asking a question, trying to become more informed, trying to know more about something. There's nothing wrong with that at all. No matter who tells you what, people get mad at me all the time for asking questions. What about this? And there's no answer. I know there's no answer before I ask the question. But they get upset because just the fact that there is no answer kind of defeats their argument. So, yeah, people get upset when you ask questions, but we need to. And I'll say that again, it's a really cool thing I've said before in my videos and probably live streams. But humans have been interacting and communicating with apes for like 60 years now through sign language, and never, not once in all that time, has an ape asked a question. Okay, not where's my banana, what am I doing here, what's your name, where's my water. Nothing. Never, not once has an ape asked a question. So that's telling to me. To me, that says that's what it means to be human. That's what makes us, above the animals. The fact that we question things. And I believe it's almost our duty to question everything. It proves that we're human beings. We're not animals. We're not sheep or goats to get herded around, and just run off a cliff. We question things. Why? Why the hell are we doing this? Why are we going to war? Why is the stock market behave this way? Why? And that's why I ask so many questions. Because I want to know. I'm not an ape, I'm a human being with a working, functioning mind. And it's just in my nature to question. Yeah, I think we just passed that law too, Savage, in Florida recently, that gold and silver are legal tender. I believe so. I believe there's more than one state like that. And that, to me, that's the place if you're going to invest somewhere, it's in gold and silver. To me, I'm not, I'm not hawking any specific supplier or anything. That just makes sense to me. You can hold it in your hand. They can't just, push a button and delete it out of your safe. It's just, it makes sense to me. But even more than that is, tools and, I've got one of those old drills that you spin like that, just in case. Let them cut the power out. I can still build shit. I've got saws and drills and, you know what I'm saying? I've got old school shit from the, from the late 1800s tools, so I can build shit. So yeah, I believe in that kind of investment has at least the ability to be way more valuable. Imagine, one of those old school drills after the grid goes down. How much gold would somebody give me for one of those old school drills? So, you know what I'm saying? if they don't have one and they, so value is in actual function in the world, in reality, not because gold, its value is just in our minds. Any kind of currency, real value is its function, and gold just lays there. Tools, they will help your life, in a real and immediate way. So your dog says WTF every day, Stephanie. Yeah, electronic music underground. Yeah, try to enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, what else can we do, What the hell else can we do? Tools and kerosene lamps. Yeah, Mike, that's a good one too. Yeah, skills. Yep. Yeah, Chaz, that's another good one too. If you have skills to build things, if you know how to use these tools and how to build a shelter or to start a fire without with what is that, basic tools, how to do things with basic tools and do actually have skills in the real world, those might be even more valuable than the tools, because you can't lose skills. You can lose a tool. Somebody else can take your tool from you. They can't take your skills. Those are with you forever. Yeah, wild edible plant book. And if you have the memory, it would be good to memorize that shit. So if you do lose the book, you can retain the knowledge in the book. That's the good thing about books. That knowledge is a transfer of those skills. So yeah, that people, in my opinion, although they would have value, gold and silver and stuff, don't get me wrong, but in a real post-apocalyptic scenario where survival is what we're talking about, surviving, I don't think that that's where the value is. The value is in skills and basic non-electric tools and stuff like that. That's where real value lies. So yeah, so anyway, to make that point there, I'm not big on any of those kind of monetary investments. Just investing in currency and stuff, right? Any kind of currency, digital, whatever. I mean, it might be helpful to have have a little bit of gold or silver laying around, or a few dollars in American currency or Australian currency or whatever, but that shit isn't going to keep you alive for an extended period of time. A good solid bow or tools like that, hunting, fishing equipment, that stuff will keep you alive. Yeah, Trust Gen Z to build us some shelter when we get old. Yeah, that's what we need to do. they'll ask Gen Z to build you a shelter. They'll put their virtual goggles on, and it'll just be dark because there's no power, no virtual reality. Yeah, that's another good thing is snare cable. Yeah, that's another good thing, Mike. Yeah, but well, yeah, I don't Savage. Yeah, investing in that stuff. I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm not downplaying it, but I just think we should also invest in real, actual, physical tools and stuff as well. But you can go to garage sales and stuff like that, and those secondhand stores, and get those old tools pretty cheap. Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. Electronic Underground. I'm always, if I see that shit, I collect that stuff. I've got old tools like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. When the cash can become completely worthless, just depending on the situation. Yeah, chance favors the prepared mind. You're right, Chaz. Lake, okay, Lake, we just got to find out how to get to Norway, but Lake's going to give us tattoos if the apocalypse comes, because he can do it without electricity. Oh, those old Viking tattoos. All right, everybody, it's time. I got to go to work. So I'll say goodbye to all of y'all. Vintage, thanks again, Vintage. I appreciate it, buddy. I'm gonna use my jug again today, dude. Jeff 7, Tripwire, Bucky, Stephanie, Electronic Music Underground, Robbie Reese. Who else we got here? AF. Did I say Tripwire? Of course, Mike Fleisner. Can't forget my buddy Mike. R. Snyder's not here today. I haven't seen R. Snyder yet, so I'll say hi, R. Snyder. My buddy R. Savage, did I say Savage already? Chaz. I'd like to say goodbye to everybody. Stephanie. I don't know if I got everybody, but LJ, I think LJ already left us. Jack Mabry, thanks again, Jack. I appreciate it. All right. Well, if I didn't say your name, did I say Bucky? Goodbye, Bucky, and have a great day. Have a great weekend, everybody. If I didn't say your name, I apologize. I try to get everybody, but the chat gets kind of long there. I just got to scroll through the chat. I'm off to work, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Again, we've got the live stream tomorrow will be twice as long. It'll be 2 hours, and that's tomorrow. That's Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I think it's 6 p.m. in Norway, and what is it, like 10 a.m. or something Monday morning, or maybe 4 a.m. Monday morning in Australia. So those one Trip and Vintage, when they get up that early and check out the Sunday episode, I appreciate that when they do that. So all right, LJ, you too, buddy. Everybody have a great weekend. And I'll leave you there with that. As always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.